Going over to the Cultural Report podcast, you have Matt Walsh bringing up Zohran's citizenship and his stance on tearing down monuments. Now, this is in regard to Zohran, who's the new DNC frontrunner, or rather, he actually did won the primary for the mayoral candidate of New York City. Well, city, as they might call it. Now, Zohran, this is a tweet from 2020. He said, quote, 2017, New York City ordered the review of public works constituting symbols of hate for potential removal. But a statue of Columbus remains in Astoria in defiance of the values of humanity, empathy, justice we stand for. It has to go. Sign the petition. And that was so mentally vacuous, only 226 morons agreed with him on June 15th, 2020. Which, yeah, you say a lot of things about Trump, but he was right. Years ago, Trump did warn, once you start tearing statues down of Confederate soldiers, there'd be nothing left because there'd be the ripple effect. And Democrats, I mean, they just keep pushing. They have no limitation on what they want in terms of tearing down, destroying history. And lo and behold, yep, they started with the Confederate statues. Then they soon were so mentally vacuous. I'll never forget, I believe it was during the George Floyd BLM Summer of Love riots. They actually tore down a statue of it bogs my mind, Frederick Douglass. I also can't speak very well. Who, again, was a famous African-American abolitionist and historical figure. And yet they tore down his statue. Now, Matt Walsh responded to Zohran, saying, quote, Madamami became a U.S. citizen in 2018. 2 years later, he was already working to tear down monuments of our historical icons. This incredible ignorance and entitlement of whiny, ungrateful brat. Unquote. That got about 1 million views and 30,000 likes, which, yeah, I would never vote for anyone who wants to tear down statues, but again, I'm obviously a fan of history. Now, Barefoot Pregnant responded saying, quote, citizenship is a privilege, respect the country, don't rewrite its history. Getting 38, let's make it 39 likes. Can't help but think how much of this craziness could be maybe decreased in frequency if we had people actually read 1984 by George Orwell. Probably one of the best books in history. It's definitely not a happy book, but yeah, in the book, they frequently note how the big government would tear down historical things to erase it and rewrite history. The flag guy also says, quote, Ilhan Omar is the same. America needs to stop allowing immigrants to use and abuse our great country. Gained 304 likes. MWW says, quote, calling for him to be deported by Israeli first members of Congress couldn't be more retarded. Is strengthening his hand and making him sympathetic. What? Mentally vacuous, but it did get 186 likes. Pork Off says, quote, so citizens aren't allowed to use their rights to make America with better place by not having because hero worship for people who did awful things. You have no issue with Elon tearing down the constitutional norms of congressional powers, but when a brown man does it, you have an issue, unquote. Extremely mentally vacuous, getting 130 likes, though. Wonder if he was ratioed. Tina responded saying, quote, it's not about race. I'm brown and I'm a legal immigrant and I 100% don't support Zohran. Socialism will never work in America. Why don't y'all go back to your home country and make a regime change, not here in the U.S.? Getting 4 likes. Make it 5. Pork Off is pissed. He says, quote, why don't you? I was effing born here. Yes, he's pretending he's not American because he's of his effing race and religion. STFU. Thanks to the Urban Dictionary, I do know what some of that stuff means. E says, quote, if it was that quick, you would wonder if the people were brought here out of intention to destroy polite white society. Obviously, getting 173 likes. Dan Smith responded saying, quote, polite white society, give me an effing break, you slack-jawed rube. It's not a Scrabble word, I don't think, but that's a pejorative term you don't hear every day. That's a little unique there, Mr. Dan Smith. Which, yeah, I think the main issue is, tearing down history, destroying history. He's a socialist, and this Zohran guy also wants to ban guns, too. And also defund the police, and also let everyone out of prisons. Scrolling down more and more. Robert Sputus says, quote, I think all these people have been purposely planted here to destabilize our country, like the Germans did to Russia during World War I. They sent in Lenin, whom they had imprisoned, to destabilize. They wanted Russia sidelined. Here you have a picture of Representative Ilhan Omar saying, quote, in my country, I'm forced to keep my mouth shut. But here, I'm free to talk trash about this country in hopes I can change it to the country where I'm forced to keep my mouth shut. In 29, let's make it 30 likes. It's ironic to see the way some people vote in terms of, oh yeah, they want women liberation, but they also want Sharia law. What? Yeah. Tony Tony says, quote, we need to deneutralize. I'm not pronouncing that right. All brown invaders and bring back Naturalization Act of 1790. 62 likes, which, again, I don't think this has anything to do about race. It's all about the values. I have friends from all over the world who's come to the United States legally, and they have all backgrounds. They look different, and they all share the founding fathers' morals and values. They're all patriots. A lot of them escaped communistic hellholes, so They usually are the ones who most frequently do not vote for socialism and communism. There's a reason when my mom's family came here from Cuba, you'll never see a Cuban flag in their gosh darn yard. They vote very much to not have communism replicated in the United States. Now, Brotherhood says, quote, that's why it's a joke to consider any person with documents, this is why it's a joke to consider any person with documents as American. It's so much more than then we're only now seeing the absurdity. Gave 48 likes. Quadcari says, quote, yo, Matt Walsh blog, your racism is showing today. There's a statute that says Republicans, Democrats are the slave owners. Republicans never own states. Democrats were taking down monuments. Republicans leave our heritage alone. Gave 57 likes. Which again, what was it? 1.6% of the U.S. population owned slaves in the 1730s? I forget the statistics, but it's shockingly low compared to what people perceive. Again, I think Republicans usually more often than not, well, they're the party that usually respects history more often. And I'm not in favor of tearing down any of these historical figure statues. Edward Shepard says, quote, imagine taking citizenship as a gag order and Columbus as a moral compass. The founding fathers have been tarred you for worshiping a monarchist explorer, getting 64 likes. Nothing more hilarious than people who say it was a bad thing Columbus discovered America, which did not even invent the wheel by the time he arrived here, or domesticate horses. Yeah. If you have any piece of technology or any semblance of pretty much modern culture in your life, you should be thankful that Christopher Columbus came here and started the process that would make the United States the strongest country on the planet. With more innovation, research, development, and founding of companies and artists, musicians than anywhere else on the planet. I mean, shoot, pretty much everything around us wasn't made in the USA nowadays, but is engineered and designed more often than not in the United States. So it looks like, I want to say Matt Walsh, maybe about 50-50 split, wasn't ratioed, but he did get, some people cheering for him, some people going against him. But yeah, let me know, are you a fan of people tearing down modern monuments in general? And again, Zohran did, or Zohan, because I think it's funnier to mispronounce it that way. I mean, this is a tweet from 2020. Maybe he claimed he's changed since then. I mean, I don't think so. But let me know your thoughts and comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in, especially on 4th of July. And again, I want to say thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. I was going to say, any feedback is always greatly appreciated. Leave a comment. And it might take me a little while, but I'll always take the time to respond. Don't forget to take the time to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And as always, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.